We'll start things off with Emma.
Coach, so a lot of us, as we were talking about in the press box yesterday, noticed that Aaron Boumery wasn't playing. And we've been hearing reports that he has a hip injury. Can you confirm that, whether he's going to be out for the season?
Yeah, I should have said that last night, and I apologize to you guys for that, and I apologize to Boom. Boom didn't play because of his job. Boom has he's battling that hip again, so he was out for the game. And I know it bothers him, and I know he wants to be out there. You guys know how I feel about him and the success he had last year. But for right now, he's out, and we'll see how it progresses.
Do you have any sort of timeline on that?
I don't. It's kind of like last year with him. It could last a long time. I know he's been out periodically throughout his career, but I don't right now. I don't really. As soon as I do, though, Emma, I will let.
We'll go next to Andy.
Okay. Jeff, we talked about the defensive line rotations yesterday, but also rotating a lot of guys in that secondary too. Were those decided in terms of number of snaps before the game, or is that an in-game decision you're working with coaches on who's going in at one time?
And it was, hey, let's make sure sometimes, Andy, I mean, at least in my history, you always say, wow, I really want to get this kid some work. And then you get into the game and your guys are playing and you never get to them. So we said by such and such series, let's get these guys in and get them some reps, and let's keep our guys fresh and healthy, and see what we got. Camp was very competitive. We have a lot of guys who deserve to play. And as I mentioned to you guys, if we believe a guy is deserving to be on the field, I'm going to make sure we get them on the field. I'm trying to get as many guys better, as many guys roles as they can. And I do believe if we're fresh, especially at that position with all the man and zone and movements we do, we gotta keep them fast. So we did. We played a lot of them. Played a lot of guys all over the place on defense.
We'll go next to Rich.
Mute myself. Hey, Jeff, I'm looking at the starting lineup for Duke last year and then the one yesterday. And on the offensive line, except for Alec, everybody's playing a different position than they did in the Duke game. Just what went into that reshuffle?
Well, the shuffle last year, Vrabel was battling injury for most of the year. So we moved him to the right side. Then we moved Zion inside and we moved Ben to the left side. With Vrabel back healthy, we felt good about putting him back at left tackle because we are fully confident that he's an extremely, good left tackle. Wanted to move Zion inside to shore some things up in the middle with him and Mahogany. And we moved Ben back to the right with Alex still playing center. So the whole thing really was, trying to, watch out for Braves a little bit last year, which people don't even know about, and how well he played, not really being 100%. Now he is 100%, and he's our left tackle again. So it all really stemmed from that one position, Rich. And that's why we did it.
We'll go next to Dan.
Coach, yesterday was, the first game last year. I remember you mentioned just vanilla and everything with that. But how much of this year was the ability to be able in that first game to be able to play certain things that you were able to work on in spring and preseason? And how do you kind of determine what you can and maybe want to work on moving forward over the next week or two?
Yeah. Dan, honestly, yesterday on defense, speaking first, was even more vanilla than it was last year. I think we might have called the same play 25 times yesterday, and we just kept going with it. Once we got up and felt comfortable, we looked at the game plan and we crossed off a lot of calls that we didn't want to show because we didn't show them last year. Our mentality going into this game was to see how well we could play with a lot of the stuff we did last year, and minimize not showing some new things, if that makes sense to you, Dan. And as we went along in the game, we started crossing off things on the call sheet. So we were very basic, very vanilla. And even though we liked some things a little bit better than what we were calling, we kind of took a calculated risk there as the game got going and just lived with some stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go next to Kevin.
Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good, Kevin. Thanks.
Good. So 189 yards on the ground yesterday. but no one had double-digit carries. Travis Levy had 9, but very balanced attack. Is that how you want to see it this year, or would you rather someone kind of step up and take the overall job? You know what I mean?
I think you're going to see both. And I know that doesn't answer your question, and don't feel like I'm avoiding it. Yesterday, a big thing for us, we wanted to get them all touches. And we kind of wanted to see them play and evaluate and see how they did. I mean, it doesn't mean all of a sudden the guy who had the most yards is not going to start. I'm not saying that. But we felt good about all the backs. We think they're all a little bit different, like we talked about. And we just we felt good. I mean, again, once the game got a little bit out of hand, it was important for us to play multiple people. And we also, going in, wanted to see those guys. You know, we wanted to see Trav and Pat and Sink and X, and we got a chance to. There might be some games, truthfully, Kev, where, you know, one guy might get 25 carries, and there might be others where it's like 10, 10, 5, and it's more balanced. So we'll see how we go this year. But that's just the way it worked out. You're right. We got 9, 4, 6, 3. So not a lot for one guy.
We'll go to Emma.
Coach, have you moved on to thinking about UMass at all? Or are you still coming down from a 51-0 shutout to open the season?
Right now, I'm just wrapping up Colgate. I just finished. I just walked out of the team meeting. So we woke up this morning. We all watched the film together. Watch it with the defense. Watch it with the offense. And then I go down. I have a team meeting. And in the team meeting, I kind of went over how I felt real. And we turn it on. We have hard conversations. What was good? What wasn't good enough? And sometimes, Emma, you know, it looks really good because it was a big play, but the process wasn't right. And if we don't fix it, it's not going to happen like that again. So that's more important to me, to fix all that before we move on. So now the offensive coaches and defensive coaches are meeting with their players right now, and then we'll go out onto the field and we'll go through a correction, and then we'll have a small period just to get a jump start on our next opponent. And then for the guys that didn't play in the game, we're going to let them play a little bit because we need to develop our football team. And then once that's done, I'll come in, take a deep breath, clean my desk off, and get ready for UMass. So I know I gave you a really long answer right there, but so to answer your question, I could have just said quickly no.
We're going to take 2 more, first with Andy.
So Dennis came in the fourth quarter. What was the thought process of keeping in Phil for that long? And did you think about maybe moving him out a little bit earlier than that, or did you want to see him go through a long?
Yeah, I thought about that yesterday during the game. I thought about it after the game. That's a tough one, right? And really, you could ask me that question, Andy, about a lot of the players. You know, why did we keep these guys in, even in the third when we were up 30, whatever it was, to 0? And it's kind of risk reward, and we're very lucky because we came out healthy. You don't have a preseason, right? You don't, and we don't go live against each other. And guys have to play football, and sometimes you got to push it a little bit. Did I push it a little bit too far? I mean, shoot, my brother thought I did. He was ripping me last night for keeping Phil in the game that long. But, you know, it's a little different when I'm thinking about, you know, trying to make sure everybody gets enough reps. So in some cases, maybe I left some guys in for a little bit too long and I need to do a better job and got lucky this time. But then there's other guys. We need to get it. We need to get going a little bit. We need to play football, and we got to get better because we're not where we need to be right now. I'm telling you the truth. So I wanted to keep those guys in, and, you know, could I have done it earlier? Sure. But I'm just lucky it worked out this time, Andy.
And we'll wrap things up with Rich.
Hey, Coach, until you got the upper hand, I'm just looking at the play-by-play. It was a lot of first down passing from the offense. Is that just something that Phil was looking for, shots downfield? Any pattern to that?
No, honestly. You know, I think with the first drive, we started off, we ran the ball a lot, right? And then we kind of adjusted to what they were going to do to try to stop the run. So we tried to get them to back up a little bit, and then they backed off a little bit. Then they started coming down again. And then you could see those deep crossers we were throwing against them. You probably could see from the press box, a lot of those were open. So I think we were just trying to take advantage of some of the stuff they were doing that we thought we could exploit early in the game. So that's probably why.
That'll wrap things up for today. Thanks, everybody, for joining.